On this Christmas Day, as people across the globe observe the holiday, church services look very different as the world continues to battle the coronavirus pandemic. Joining me now is Reverend Russell Levinson of St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston, the largest Episcopal church in North America. He's also the author of Preparing Groom, an Advent Companion. Reverend, Merry Christmas to you. Thank you so much for joining me today. We should note that you and I have met a few years ago as I was covering the funerals of former First Lady Barbara Bush and later President George H.W. Bush. They were active members at the church for more than 50 years. Christmas without massive choir singing and hundreds of people gathered together look like? I would imagine you learned a lot from Easter.
We did. Well, Easter we didn't have services in church. It was so close to the beginning of the pandemic. But last night, and we've actually been having services now for a couple of months, very respectful, have sanitation stations everywhere. And yesterday we had 6 services. We have a pretty cavernous space, so we can fit about 200 in the space that normally holds 1,200. But everyone was respectful of one another, and we had about 1,200 people in 6 services. But I think the thing that mattered the most to those people was the opportunity just to come and be back together with each other and the place where they worship week after week. And it was very touching. There were a lot of tears.
What is your advice to people as they look to get through this last week of 2020 and try to stay positive and healthy?
I think we could all feel the loneliness. We're tired of the loneliness, but I think our coming together was a reminder of how much we do miss each other and how much we do need each other and how much we need God. I think the real message of Christmas, of course, is that God came to be among us in the child Jesus to remind us that we're not alone. And so I spent a lot of time yesterday kind of unpacking from that point he just lifted off from by reminding people, absolutely we need each other in a time right now, but we need God, and we need to spend some time making sure, all this stuff we've done in the last several months to make space in our life. I think I shared with you that we've all cleaned out closets and drawers and attics and things like that, connecting with the one who really enables us to connect with each other.
You look at what happened in Nashville today, just as an example of what a president has to deal with in terms of being a consoler in chief. Thankfully, there was no loss of life here, but we would anticipate, unfortunately, that presidents have to deal with these types of scenarios.
And I think today, when we hear about Nashville, the first thing we do is pause and check on family. I do think I appreciate the fact that the president-elect has talked a lot about calling to serve, not just to be served, and he said again and again throughout his campaign and now that he's president-elect, it's not enough just to speak good words or speak good news, but to actually follow up by doing good things. And it is important, I think, that we do good things. And I do think our president-elect knows suffering. And people in my business call people who know the kind of suffering that he has known and the death of family members.
Russell Levinson, friend, good to see you. Merry Christmas to you. Best to your family. Thank you so much.
God bless.
And more on our breaking news. An explosion in Nashville damages buildings, and a warning may have saved countless lives. The city's vice mayor joins CNN live in just a moment. Anderson Cooper picks up our special coverage after this short break.